When countries like Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and Greece join, and clever people realized that catching up is not only something which should happen wherever politicians want to improve the lot of their citizens, but also inside the EU as a very pragmatic policy response to the need to have cohesion inside the European Union. The Eastern enlargement is a wave which has increased tremendously the variety of circumstances inside the European Union and has complicated substantially the way people can think about the use of EU funds and about cohesion policy.
To take what is best practice, to look at the financial management structures and systems which enabled Spain and Ireland to use the structural funds effectively, to look at the planning, the implementation and the monitoring, to look at the priorities that underpinned investment and how, in Ireland's case anyway, helped to fuel our economic growth. With the help of structural and cohesion funds, we in Ireland were able to invest in infrastructure, human capital, the productive sector, research and development at a time when our exchequer would not have permitted us to do this on our own. And you mentioned that in 1999. And I think for Ireland, one of the most important long-term benefits was that we went from a situation where in many cases we responded to financial crisis, financial situations on an ad hoc basis, to a situation where we started to plan.
So for this Spanish programming, we ended in this situation, and we tried, we can recapitulate here what has been the negotiation procedure for us. So there was in the 6th of October in 2006 was the start point with the publication of the Community Strategic Guidelines. Then, according to the regulations that were approved already in July of that year, we had 5 months to present our programming documents, and there was draft proposals presented in Brussels and in Madrid, and we finally submitted in March our draft programs. According to our planning, there were 45 programs, ERDF and ESF, as well as a cohesion fund program that Spain is still beneficiary of cohesion fund till the end of the period.
Our economy has transformed a lot. We have still a lot of small and medium enterprise. At the time, we have a lot of micro enterprise and a big agriculture sector. Some of our industrial sectors, we are quite strong in metal mechanics, in ceramic, floor and tile, plastic and chemical industries. Okay. What the structural funds has meant in our region? We are talking of near 1,700 million in the period 2000-2006. And you have some figures here. It means approximately 17% of the total budget of the investment who has been associated with this funding mechanism. The total structural funds figure in Valencia, invested directly in Valencia, amounts 4,388 million.
In Ireland's case, in 1973, when we joined the EU, we were at 60% of the EU average, and currently we're at approximately 144% of the EU average. But again, there are regional disparities within our country as well, with the southern eastern region at 158% of the EU average and the BMW region at 104% of the EU average. So even within our own economy, there are disparities there, and we're trying to address those. Since we joined the EU, we've received approximately 17 billion in EU structural and cohesion funding. Prior to 1989, this money was invested basically on a project-by-project basis by government departments. But since 1989, we're investing them through multi-annual investment programs. here's an indication of the level of funding that we've received. And since 94, 99, it's decreasing, and it's decreasing significantly. But I think that reflects the fact that our economy is doing well.
There has been, I think, as Jim would have stated, a close relationship between EU cohesion policy and Irish regional structure since 1989. By and large, the regionalisation agenda in Ireland, to a large extent, has been driven by EU funds and EU process. And in 1999, as we no longer qualified as a single Objective 1 country, 2 new regional assemblies were established, one of which is ours, the border, Midland and Western, and the other is the Southern and Eastern. All EU allocations are at NUTS 2 level, and I suppose the new regional assemblies have been a new administrative departure in Ireland, and to an extent has been the first time that regions have been actively involved, I suppose, in the management of EU programmes. And this, I think, has created many advantages from a regional perspective, albeit I would want to emphasise that regional structures in Ireland are not as strong as in many countries in Europe. We are mainly administrative bodies.
We just have to work together to wisely invest the amounts of funds, which is a substantial part of the EU budget in the years to come. When we think of nearly 350 billion euro that we have at the disposal of the cohesion policy, with half of it going to 20% of the EU population, we can understand that there is a challenge, an important challenge. I would say a double challenge. On the one hand, there is no doubt that we have to invest wisely these funds, these financial instruments of cohesion policy in such a way that they contribute to growth and to the process of catching up in the new member states. On the other hand, the other challenge for us is, of course, to understand that it is an important part of the EU budget, and we not only have to invest it wisely from the economic point of view, but also with all the respect of the rules, regulations, sound financial management. So there is this, when we think of absorption, we have to understand that there are 2 legs or 2 sides to this process.
I think that the more important deficits in Romania are the infrastructures of transport and the human resources qualification. Are the more important medium-term needs. For this dimension of the application of the structural funds, the capacity building is very important for better quality of the public services and to have human resources qualified, well paid, good salaries and careers.
If you take a look at Romania, they're going to, between 2007 and 2013, they're going to have to spend the 19 billion in the funds, together with everything that's left over from the pre-accession instruments, plus everything that's going to come from the other financial instruments that are not the regional funds. And we're talking about a budget or investment of about somewhere between 25 and 30 billion euro. And to date, Romania has never faced a challenge of this kind.
Something that you should have in mind is that when the bank is looking at a project, we are really looking not only at the financial aspect. It's clear that, as I mentioned, it's very important, but also at what we call the overall environment and the socio-economic benefits of the project. So we are looking at the technical viability of the project, also if the project is generating an appropriate economic return, but also we are looking at compliance with procurement and environmental protection, among other things. And I think that, for instance, public procurement has been stressed as one of the main issues.